all, I want to say welcome to all of our new state chairs. We've been going through some rounds of hires here at the national office. Doing interviews. We've been doing. These regional directors, they've been building out a hell of a field team. I've been averaging about 4 or 5 interviews a day, getting to know some phenomenal, potential state chairs, and thrilled to go in here. We've got at least 5 or 6 of the newbies here on the call here this evening. So, welcome to you guys, and get ready for a kick-ass summer. So first of all, just so we're all on the same page here, every single Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we do a leadership team call. Each week, the content is going to change, relative to what priorities are. Where I see, we may need additional training, or updates on, refocusing, reshifting priorities and really where we got to grow our network. So 5:30 p.m. Eastern every single Monday, unless you guys hear otherwise. Cool. So first off, I want to start with shout-outs, and I apologize about my voice. I'm not sick. I don't get sick, but my voice has been a little bit funny since yesterday. But anyway, shout-outs for May, Northeast and Coastal regions. Coastal, right out the gate, changing names, but not changing perfection. Both of those regions with 100% state chair performance for the month of May. Very good job, Northeast and Coastal. Unfortunately, this is 2/8 of our state chair teams, regionally with 100% performance, and we needed 100% for me to go and get to the handlebar mustaches. So I'm going to still have my beard, no handlebar mustache. You guys blew that one, but luckily, you guys do have a pretty ridiculous incentive this month. So 100% performance does get. I'm gonna say frosted tips. I'm gonna do frosted tips on my head for a week, maybe, if you guys get there. Cool. So for June, I just want to go and reiterate expectations for everybody, as we do have some newbies here, and seems like we did miss a couple of you guys on the LT call last week. So expectations for June through the end of August. So this is going to be June, July, and August. State chair minimum expectations. These aren't goals. These are what we absolutely need to do, each and every one of us, every single month to ensure that we are preparing ourselves for a very strong fall come September. Now, you have options. So you're going to either start 2 chapters each month, June through August. You can start 1 chapter and activate 1 chapter. Or you can activate 2 chapters. So our options are 2 of either creations or activations. Now, the reason why we are opening up activations to, as an option for you guys to meet your marks is because it is so important that we are building out chapters and not allowing them to just be one kid in a dream. As you guys, I'm sure, have all seen, different chapters you may be mentoring, or some of the groups that you've seen out there. If it is just one person that is involved in the group, it is bound for failure. It is so important. I don't care how good of an activist we may have found at a certain school. If they do not have an executive board around them, I guarantee you they will be obsolete within at max a semester. They will not be going anywhere. And if they are still around, that means they are a poor leader. That means you can find someone else regardless. Because if we're not growing chapters, if we're not building out and scaling out to something starting with an executive board, we will be doomed for failure. That is a guarantee. So activations are extremely important, and it is very critical really at this point in the summer to get ahead, build out an e-board, build out a chapter, so that come the fall semester, come September when students are back on campus, we're not starting from the basics. We're not starting from the ground floor. We're starting middle of the ground and continue to build upwards. So again, June expectations, July expectations, August, all the same. That's going to be 1 chapter started, 1 chapter activated, or 2 chapters started and 2 chapters activated. Make sure to work with your regional directors to determine what is best for your network currently. I'm sure state chairs are going to get pushed to go for different things depending on what your state really needs the most. Looking through the chapter stock here, we have some states that definitely could use some fresh chapter creations, and others where we have a ton of chapters, but not many are very active. So let's go and make sure you're working with the regional directors to really zero in and determine where we need to go. That being the case, taking a look at the national, state chair, monthly requirements being met for May. No, we only hit 75% of our state chairs meeting the mark. This is actually for 2018. That is a low. That is a low for this year. We've had nothing less than 80% every single month this year. So seeing us dipping and going down, this is not very promising leading into a month that expectations are rising. So that being the case, I do want to take a couple moments here, a couple minutes, just to really kind of talk about some basics of the how-to chapter creation. I'm not going to tell you how to graph search. I trust that your regional directors are taking care of that. But just some conceptual things for you guys to be thinking about as you're leading into these chapter creation calls. So as for the graph search messaging, when you get on Facebook, you go and add all these people, you get those messages out. I do have the call script that is going to be in everybody's shared folders. For some of our newbies, I'm going to make sure that we get that shared out for you guys again. This is an A to Z covering everything about chapter creation that you guys will need. There's a perfect script in there for you guys for intro messages that every single state chair from, your Jared Starhorse, who have been around for nearly 2 years now, as well as, your Troy McCabe's, who are just getting brought on this week. So that being the case, make sure to go and use that. It is proven to be a very effective tool. But once we get them on the phone, I do want to kind of go over some things of how we are to be kind of messaging what it is a YAL chapter is and how we go through this process. So when we first start this phone call, this is something that some of you guys may have heard at LTS earlier this year, which is our leadership team summit back in January. But opening up the phone call, introducing yourself, high energy. Hey, how's it going? This is Matt with Young Americans Liberty. So excited to hop on the phone with you here today. And then I'll go and introduce myself. Hey, I got plugged in with the Liberty Movement with, Senator Rand Paul. I was office manager over there in Des Moines, Iowa, helping him out. He was at 1% nationally, but we had a whole bunch of buzz in the office, getting out there fighting for liberty every single day. But then I ended up getting a job over at Young Americans for Liberty. I was regional director and moved up to this role, loving what I'm doing every day. But listen, enough about me. Tell me about yourself. How did you get involved in the Liberty Movement? Now, when you ask this on an introductory phone call, it's something very special that you're able to do. You're nearly able to turn an introductory phone call into an interview, right? So when you go and ask that question, hey, how did you get involved in the Liberty Movement? You're asking someone a question that you just found them on Facebook. They might not even know what a Liberty Movement is. We're a little bit more well aware of kind of the bigger picture of things, which is why we're on the leadership team here. But for many people that we find, they don't realize there's anybody else besides them that think this way and have this view of, this Ron Paul guy, maybe he wasn't so crazy, right? So there are a lot of people out there that think that way. So being able to go and ask them, hey, how'd you get involved in the Liberty Movement? Immediately, we're kind of putting these people on their heels, and they're thinking, Liberty Movement, okay, I don't want to, seem out of the loop. I was following Ron Paul back in 2012, and he was just making a lot of sense. And now they're trying to prove themselves to you, rather than you trying to sell them on why they should start a YAL chapter. We kind of have them thinking, I don't want to seem out of the loop. This is a state chair for one of these leading liberty organizations. This is awesome. I'm going to go and try to sell myself now. Very, very good way to kind of introduce this movement, even more so than just YAL. Introduce the movement first, and then we can get into why YAL is the leader of this movement that will get them to where they want to go as a career. Now, one other thing that I want us to talk about here, because as I'm doing state chair calls, I'm kind of asking, some chairs, hey, tell me what's your intro script? Like, how do you get people to start a chapter? And more and more, I'm kind of hearing, people are just kind of getting right into the, I just got on the phone call, and they're just like, hey, this is what we do. I'm Matt. I'm a state chair for YAL. We need a chapter president over there for, our school over there at SUNY Cortland. We don't have anybody, and, I think you'd be a great option. Like, do you want to be chapter president? There's a lot missing in between that. And, of course, you want to make that direct ask for them to take on this opportunity. But it's so important that we go and get an idea of why they should want to start a chapter, not why you should want them to start a chapter, and not why they want to. So, for these things that I do have on this call, again, for some of our new folks here, I'm going to get that shared out to you. But we kind of go and ask, hey, how'd you get involved in the Liberty Movement? And we dive into what are some of your biggest issues in politics. Figure out what drives their passion. If you're able to tap into their passion on a phone call, you are nearly guaranteed to get that chapter started. Let me explain why. If you have a phone call with someone and you're just like, hey, I'm Matt, we're doing this thing here on college campuses, and, it's pretty cool. It's going to take, a couple hours a week from you. But, we need a chapter president. Are you interested? That's not fueling anybody's passion. Nobody's excited to take on that opportunity. But if you're going to ask someone and saying, hey, what are some of your big issues in politics? Oh, well, foreign policy, man, honestly, like the trillions of dollars we're spending on Afghanistan and Iraq, we go and add Hillary Clinton going to Libya. And if you go and get people to start to talk, and if you get them ranting before you even offer the opportunity of chapter president, think about this. I mean, every single one of you guys, I've seen these memes that are out there where it's, the individual, and they're like, oh, I promise I'm not going to get all political, and it's like 3 drinks later, and then it's, Mel Gibson run down the field with the American flag in his hands. And I think if you're really able to tap into this without needing, 3 drinks to get there, and if you're able to just give them the floor, have them talk, have them rant, listen to them, because I guarantee you, when you're able to tap into that passion, they're going to be like, okay, now I'm all fired up. I'm ready to take action. You've had that opportunity yet. Chapter president, I'm all about it. It is such a powerful thing when you're able to really get them bought in and get them excited about politics, which some of these people may not even be political science majors. And keep that in mind. I mean, I talk about Lisa Rainey all the time at Paris State in Michigan. She's a biochemical engineering major. She's awesome. She's got a great chapter over there at Paris. We have a lot of chapter presidents that are in that same boat. But then for those ones that are political science majors, you're able to tap into their passion. Not only are you getting them, pumped up about something where they may be the only individual in any of the poli-sci classes that thinks the way they do. Now they're like, wow, I'm venting with someone rather than ranting in my class and pissing off some leftists and some righties. Now I'm venting with someone who thinks the way I do. We're giving them a home. Guys, this concept of community building is so important for us to really obsess about. And I like to use this word obsess frequently. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a diehard Conor McGregor fan. I talk about this all the time. But there is something special. He goes and says, there is no talent, I'm obsessed. I'm really obsessed about building something, which is a community. We are absolutely going to be bound for success. Activation, numbers are going to be skyrocketing if we go and say, hey, you're going to get this chapter started, and yeah, cool, I'll text you in a week. See you later. That's not community building. You're not building anything when you do that. For me to go and kind of look into the doc, the chapters doc here, and to go and see that, our chapter notes for chapters that were just started a week or 2 weeks prior are not getting out there and updating the notes nearly every day. I mean, when I get chapter started, when I was getting chapter started, at least as a regional director, I would not stop until that chapter was getting up to active status. I would not stop until I knew that chapter president's freaking dog's name, as I like to say. Get to know them. If you let that lead go cold, if you don't keep them pumped up in that state that you got them to on that phone call, and build something around them immediately, every single day that goes by that they're not, managing a team, or every day that they're not building towards something, that lead is going cold, and that is eventually going to be a chapter that, communication's getting lost, I haven't heard from that guy in a little bit. That's because you allowed that to happen, right? So it is so, so important that we do focus on community building after that chapter is started, right at the gate. Now, as we're talking to these leaders, opportunity creation as well. Guys, we are creating opportunities. This is something that we do better than any other organization in the movement. This is why we're allowed to say we are state chairs for the best liberty movement, liberty organization in this movement. It's because we are creating opportunities for people. Whether that's you guys referring other people to be state chair, or even more so on the local level, being able to offer chapter president roles to individuals. Really being diligent, find new members, and then give them opportunity to be executive board members, secretaries, treasurers, vice presidents. Those opportunities, guys, it may seem a little thing for us. You guys are state chairs. You guys earn this role. You guys are absolutely kicking ass. But to be going to have a freshman, sophomore, even a junior in college get plugged in with a nationally known, nationally recognized organization like Young Americans for Liberty, and be able to have the title of secretary or treasurer on their resume, that's huge. That's a resume. They may just be building out the resume. They might just create the resume just to put this on. There are I know a lot myself, a lot of people in college that I was in classes with that said, oh yeah, I should probably build a resume sometime. We were seniors. They didn't even have resumes yet. Everybody on this phone call, as Patrick McGrady was saying at Summits, you guys are not normal. You guys are phenomenal for being here. But the standard college student does not have anything really, working them towards the job that they want on their resume yet. There's going to be a lot of people that are in that boat. So when you're able to offer that as an opportunity, it is something very special that they will then owe to you. And not only the resume opportunities, but guys, we talk about, this Summits, the outcome. For me to go and see Yalcon numbers where they're at, it's quite interesting. I do want to just kind of rattle off some stats here, guys, for you quick. So looking across, we have the coastal region at 52% of the region applied for the Yalcon. Great Plains, 44%. Mid-Atlantic, 48%. Midwest, 41%. Northeast, 41%. Northern, 32%, Southern, 39%, and West Coast is at 64% of their network applied. Now, I just kind of want to call out the obvious, gorilla in the room here, guys. Nathan Fatal on the West Coast team in California. California is the closest state that they have out of Hawaii and Alaska, 3,000 miles away from Western Virginia. And they've got the highest percentage of their network applied for Yalcon. That's an interesting statistic, and it's very clear that it is doable. If people from 3,000 miles away are applying for this event, and are thrilled and excited about this event, Nathan's banging down my door over here, fighting for a couple extra people from certain schools to get in. Meanwhile, we have less than 50% of people even applying from our chapters at other regions. And that's a major discrepancy, guys, that absolutely needs to be fixed this week. And this starts on you guys as state chairs, your personal networks that you're working with. I need everybody to go into the chapters doc this evening, reach out to your chapters that have not yet applied for Yalcon, and do whatever it takes to get that application in. Minimum of 15% for each region, including, starting at your network level, needs to get applied for by Friday. I will personally be taking a look at these numbers, as well as looking, at this with your regional directors, and ensuring that this does get followed up, and this does actually happen. Now, for getting on the phone and building these lists out, guys, my goodness, my voice is rough. I think Brittany said she was recording this call. I might have to delete it before this gets anywhere. So, guys, in column W in the chapters tab and the chapters doc, it says Yalcon applied. Now, what we're tracking in here live is who has and has not applied for Yalcon. This is where we're getting some of this data from. Okay. So, column W, chapters tab. You guys should really be building lists out for yourself when you guys are going in here, and if you're like, oh, I don't know if they've applied yet or not, all of this data is right there in the chapters tab. It's all right there, right in front of you guys. So it is very important, especially some of the newbies coming onto the team, but just as much so for some of the veterans. Knowing how to operate and manipulate this data here in the chapters doc is going to do nothing but benefit you, because it's so important that you guys know your asks before you get on the phone. Now, I'm going to say this because not only can you go and cut yourself lists for who you have to reach out to get a minimum of 50% of your network that needs to be applied by the end of the week, but even deeper, you can go and prevent yourself from looking like a fool and going and calling, our chapter president over at Milwaukee School of Engineering. Just looking at the doc right now, Connor Mix. We already have an application in from there. So if we go and call them and say, oh, we got to make sure you apply for Yalcon. They're like, what? I did apply for Yalcon. What are you talking about? Then that's a whole awkward conversation that we have to go and have. Like, oh yeah, no, I must have had the wrong name here. If we're going to get personal, we need to know up to date, up to the minute, where these chapters stand. That goes for not only where they stand for Yalcon applications, but guys, the total chapter members, the total YALers that we have in column C of that same doc in the chapters tab. You guys should really focus on knowing where it is at any given time. If you guys are working with a chapter and you're growing to get this chapter up, and it still says 1 or 2, in column C there, You should be like, wait, no, that's totally wrong. Obsess about these data points. Be proud of what it is that you guys are building. And if you are not building and you're noticing, oh, all my chapters are, they're all, one or two people, and none of my network's applied, and I can't even get in touch with anybody. If that's the case, this may not be a good fit for you. And if you're okay with that, if you're accepting that as a standard, this may not be okay for you, because that is absolutely not accepted here at Yao. Our chapters are active chapters. They're constantly growing, and you guys need to be there to mentor them to get them to that next level. They're relying on you. And I say this a lot as well, guys. Sometimes we'll over-assume that people know how to start a grassroots organization. They do not know how to start a grassroots organization. You guys do. You guys are the mentors. You guys, they need you there. And if they don't have you guys right out the gate, every single day that goes by, they're wondering, crap, what am I supposed to be doing? And then, boom, they completely forget that they were even involved in the soul. All right, so that's the data there, guys. If you guys have any other questions regarding any data points whatsoever in the chapter stock here, please make sure to speak to your regional director, about those points. But know the data and know your ask when you get on the phones. Now, this is also the last actual point I'm going to make on this is make sure to make those asks over the phone and have them execute whatever that ask is while you are live on the phone. What I am, hearing from some regional directors and from state chairs, it's like, oh, I've got a commitment, for this evening to get a YAOCON app in. Great. Why didn't we get it over the phone right there? You could have walked them through it. You could have made sure they got it in right over the phone. I'm kind of seeing some applications come in, and some people are doing it wrong, or especially for chapter creations. Some people might not know how to answer some of the questions that we have on the application there. Be there for them. There's nothing worse or scarier, especially taking on a commitment like chapter president. There's nothing scary about hopping on the phone with someone, getting all pumped up, saying, yep, here's the form, go apply for this, let's get that application in, and I'm going to hang up, I'm going to go do something else. And if they get to a question they don't know how to answer, now they're like, wow, I'm alone, I don't know what to do. And now we're kind of having them have a negative experience out of something, which is an awesome experience. Okay? So make sure to go and get those applications, whatever action item that you have, for them, get them to it live over the phone. Say, hey, I have another call for a little bit here. I can hold the line. I'm going to text you the link, and I'll hold the line for you, and be here for you if you have any questions. Good. Great. So deliverables, guys, I need by Friday close of business. We want to make sure that we have 50% of all of our state chairs, every single one of you guys, your networks, the total chapters that you are working with, 50% of your network applied for the YAOCON by Friday close of business, as well as either start or activate a chapter. Knock your monthly expectations in half by Friday close of business, especially for those, if you guys did not perform in May, you absolutely need to get a chapter started by Friday close of business. Okay, so Friday, everybody owes myself and your regional director at least an activated, a chapter activated or a chapter started, and 50% of your network applied for YAOCON. Okay, now just to be 100% clear, our aim here is not to be getting your expectations done within the last 72 hours of the month, as we sometimes do see that flood of chapters in the last 3 days. It is so important that we do get ahead to ensure that we have quality leaders that we can be a little bit picky with. Who do we want to get and have on this team? It's not the first person with $10 that we're picking on, June 30th at 11:50 at night. It is so important we're getting the right people for these roles and not rushing into anything, making sure they're comfortable with it and qualified for it. So, guys, that's all I have for you guys this evening. Let me go and allow for you guys to ask some questions. If you guys want to press *6, that's going to unmute yourself and open up the floor for questions for yourselves. So feel free to go and ask any questions you guys got. That's *6. No questions? *6 if you guys got any questions. All right, well, good. You guys all have my personal cell phone number. You've got your regional director's cell phone number. Please feel free to use them as a resource. If you guys have any questions as you guys are going along, please feel free to go and reach out to them and make sure that we are building out a game plan to get 50% of our network applied by Friday, and we get that chapter started or activated by Friday. Thanks so much, you guys. Take care.